Hi everyone and welcome to our Tech Training Thursdays. Today we have our CIT and fourth grade teacher, Ms. Jimena Castillo over at Palmer Elementary. She's going to train us and teach us about how her students use Canva to create anchor charts. Go ahead, Jimena, take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Mr. Valentin said, I am a teacher here at Palmer. Specifically, I'm one of the fourth grade teachers here. So I've been teaching for about 6 years. I cumplí 6 años like in December. I spent half a year as a pre-K teacher, loved it, could not do it again, and then spent the rest of my time as a fourth grade teacher. So the main focuses of the training that I want to touch base on is why should your students or any of our students make their own anchor charts? How do they make their own anchor charts, and what happens after they create their anchor charts? So why should our students be making their own anchor charts? Anchor charts, as all educators know, they're a reference point for the students. They are notes, they are helpers to the students when we're not there to assist them on a one-to-one basis. The anchor charts serve to give them that extra little help of like, oh, how do I do this strategy? Or what's this genre about? Or what was this historical event about? It just provides them like quick little snippets of information that otherwise would be lost. But if done correctly, the anchor charts are there to help them at any given time. What would make it even better is if students create their own anchor charts, because they can create that personal connection with the information that they're learning. They're able to form meaningful connections with the content. So how do they make their anchor charts? So I managed to find 2 ways for them to make their own anchor charts. It depends on which one you favor in terms of your class size or even your resources that are available to you. So the first one is creating a mass working document for whole group work where each individual student still creates an anchor chart tailored to their understanding, their needs, but it's all happening as kind of like a live document where you can actively monitor the students in the event that you don't have like a monitoring system. And then the second method is creating individual documents for the students to work on. Again, I say documents, but I mean more like templates on Canva. So these are the 2 methods. I'm going to first touch base on the first method, which is the whole group method of them creating their anchor charts. So I'm going to move on over to Canva. And for those of us that are unfamiliar with Canva, you can log in with your PSJA credentials. We're under the education package, I believe. So everything that's on there is free of charge. You don't have to pay for anything, or you shouldn't be paying for anything. So once you are on Canva's homepage, you're going to go ahead and click Create a Design. You're going to have the little pop-up window. What I recommend most is, because you have various types of templates to choose from to assign to your students. At least for me in elementary, I feel like it's better to give them a smaller space to work with as opposed to like an 8.5 by 11 kind of template, because the more space that you give them, there are some students that feel overwhelmed with all that space. They might even start thinking, well, do I have to just make up information to fill up the space, or do I just start adding images randomly? I recommend, at least for a starting point, to give your students a smaller template to work with. For example, an Instagram post. It's a lot like the class dojo stories or posts where it's a square. So it's not, they don't have to worry about filling up this bigger area. So I'd recommend starting with an Instagram post, but if you want them to have more area to work with because their anchor chart has a lot of bullets or information or graphics, you can go ahead and assign them a doc, which would be the regular 8.5 by 11. So with the Instagram post, you'd click it, and it generates a blank square. From here, of course, for example, for these purposes, I'm going to title it Student Anchor Chart. Of course, I'm not just going to give them a blank template and tell the kids, okay, create an anchor chart. You always want to give them at least 1 or 2 questions to answer, or even like a main topic. If they can, if they have them, pull out their journals, their interactive journals, to find what specific topic or genre or historical event you want them to cover. Once they know what their anchor chart is supposed to focus on or what key points should be focused on in the anchor chart, I recommend that they go over to the designs. Why? Because again, we don't want to overwhelm the children into thinking, oh, I have to plug in element by element by element, and they're just there struggling not with the information, but trying to make it like nice and pretty, because we all have our students that are very nitpicky and perfectionists. It's just easier to present them the design or the template and tell them, hey, go to the design tab and search for something that matches the topic that we're covering. So for example, let's say we're talking about poetry in an English language arts class. You have automatically generated all of these Instagram post designs that center around the theme of poetry. So let's say, for example, I pick this design. Once your students have picked their design, you can go ahead and tell them, oh, well, you know what, a lot of the times where the text is at, they can modify that text. So if this is an anchor chart about poetry, you can tell them, okay, well, you can either title it just poetry or elements of poetry, whatever they want to title it, as long as it's centered around their topic. And if in any event they like the general design, but there's something that they don't necessarily want, or maybe they need to make room for more information, you can encourage them to go to the Elements tab right under the Design tab and have them search for elements that match what they're talking about. If we're talking about poetry, you'll have graphics, photos, sometimes videos or GIFs. So, all right, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. It's going to have my team members wanting to join us. Sorry. So again, once they have gotten their design, they can pick the elements that match their design or needs. So let's say, for example, they don't want these flowers because, no, miss, es que no me gustan las flores. It's because it's too girly. Or I don't like nature. Okay, well, you can start adding in things that match the topic. And as they go along, the kids are gaining more experience on what they like, what they don't like. So I'm actually going to show you some examples of what my kids did yesterday. So y'all get some fresh material to look at. So again, this is the example of poetry. So students were able to pick their general design. Ms. Q can get there. Thank you. Again, they titled it all on their own, added graphics that matched their preferences, and some of your students will go all out with their design for it. As long as they are putting the correct information and you just verify with them, like they have so much fun creating their own anchor chart, because a lot of the times we just give them a worksheet and it's like, okay, we're going to annotate, we're going to highlight, that's it, okay, glue it onto the journal. This allows the students to create a personal connection with the content and thus can even encourage them to internalize it a whole lot easier. Then it's just also like a fun activity for them. So once you've explained to them what the activity is, because you always have to explain how did you do this, where do they go, what's elements, what's design. But before you can let them just roam free on Canva, let me erase this. So again, so far we've chosen the type of template, which is the Instagram post, so that they don't have like a lot of space to overwhelm themselves. We've gone over how they can go into designs to pick a design that fits their needs for their anchor chart. They can either search for it or just roam through the automatically generated templates, which tend to be like the most in-season designs. And then if they want to add a little more detail, that extra little pizzazz, they can go into elements. But before the kids get their hands on it, this is how the teacher would send it out to them. So again, this is the version where they can, or where you can do it as a whole group, as a working document. What you're going to do is go on to share on the top right-hand corner this. Share on the top right-hand corner. A lot of us are going to be tempted to automatically click Google Classroom. Don't do that. You want to click on assignment. So when you click on the assignment, this little window is going to pop up. It's going to say choose where the student should submit their work. PSJA focuses on, or at least at the elementary level, we use Google Classroom. I know some of the middle school and high school might use the Microsoft Teams, but for this example, I'm going to use Google Classroom. And then share as. If you want it to be a working document where your class is on it, working on it at the same time, you want to make it you want to make it a work on this design. That way they're all working on the same document at the same time, and you're able to monitor them as they're editing the file live. So once they have, you click on work on this design, you're going to publish. It might take a while because, again, and if your Canva isn't linked to your Google Classroom, it might take you through that step of doing it. I'm going to put it to my homeroom Google Classroom. I create it as an assignment so that when the students are done, they go to Google Classroom and click submit. Then create assignment. Click go. And let's say this is student generated anchor chart. Please use your notes to create a personal anchor chart. And if you scroll down, actually, let me expand this. Oh, wait, y'all cannot see it. Oh, my bad. Let me see. Because y'all can't see the little pop-up window, correct? Where I'm typing all my information. So I'm just now looking at my other screen and it doesn't show.
Yeah, we still see your Canva screen.
Okay, let me see. Try this again. All right, there you go. My bad. Again, let me go through those last couple of steps again. Again, we click assignment, not Google Classroom, not yet. Click assignment. Then you'll click Google Classroom on where to submit the work. Share as, again, this is for the whole group version. You'll go under work on this design. Publish. Select the Google Classroom you want to take it to. Create assignment. And then go. Then again, poetry anchor chart. Use your notes to create a personal anchor chart. And then, of course, you set the due date, you set the topic, you assign it, or you can even save it so that it's scheduled to be released later on. And then it'll automatically show in Google Classroom. So let me click View. And it'll be at the very tippy top since I didn't select a specific topic. Now let me show you how it would be if you want to give the students an individual anchor chart. So again, if you do want to do the whole group one, I forgot to mention, you want to make sure you have enough pages for the students in your classroom. Because if not, they start creating pages and then suddenly it overlaps and two kids are working on the same one because they didn't realize it's not their page. I like to assign numbers to my students. So when I create all the pages, I let them know, hey, go to your assigned number. So if I create another page, it labels it as page 1 and then page 2. I tell my kids, okay, who's first one on the attendance list? Okay, Julian. All right, go to page 1. Who's the next one? Oh, it's Diego. Diego does page 2. And that's how they go on when they want to do the whole group method. If you want to do it individually where they don't have to worry about people being on their page, You're going to go ahead and click share. Very similar steps. Assignment. Same thing. We're going to choose Google Classroom. But this time, again, for the individual method, you want to pick new design for each student. After that, you publish, and then you just follow the same steps. Poetry. Again, the link will be generated, and then we assign. And for those of us that are curious on how it looks like from the student end, because I know some of us want to know what the kids are going to see, especially those of us that have never used Canva in the classroom and you want to try it out. Just like how we as teachers sign into Canva with our PSJA credentials, the students can do the same through Google. So I have a student device here. You get to see here. All right, so as you can see, this student already has the 2 assignments that I've created. There's the whole group one, which was the poetry anchor chart, and then the poetry, which was the individual assignment. When they click on the anchor chart link that you've provided to them, they're going to click on it. Sometimes it'll automatically sign them in. So it takes a while as well. But as you can see, this one right here, it's already signing in this student. And again, they don't really have to touch anything, especially if they've already used Canva before. If they haven't, it'll prompt them to sign in with Google. Let them know just sign in with Google. They don't have to create an account. The account's already made for them. And they already have the working document. And this is how it'll look like on the student end. And again, they can go through the designs, add the elements. And it's the same thing for the individual. Again, it should automatically sign them, but for the individual one, they'll use the template for a new design or edit the template. So they'll click use template for new design. And again, it looks just the same as the whole group one. So that's essentially how my students use this to make their anchor charts, because we have used it several times now throughout the year. But I do want to show you guys how you can take these anchor charts a step further, because I know that there are times where when we want to start using technology, we think, oh, well, it's just going to stay on the computer. Like they're never going to be able to use it again. It's a one-time use kind of deal. With using Canva to make these anchor charts, you can actually take it a step further. Again, these are just some examples of my students. They actually made one yesterday, which was the poetry one. So what happens after they create their anchor charts? If you use the whole group method of using or creating anchor charts through Canva, because all of their anchor charts are in one working document, at the end, once everybody's done, you can actually print off their anchor charts and have them glue it into their interactive journals. So it doesn't just stay on Canva and then post. They can only go back to it like once in a blue moon. Like you can print them out, especially if you do them in black and white. You can tell the students, oh, go through the elements, but use only black and white, because we all know how expensive printing in color is. So you can encourage them that, hey, let's do it in black and white, still personalize it to your needs, to your preferences. That way it can be printed off efficiently and glued onto the journal. If for some reason you are unable to print off their anchor charts, you can actually start encouraging your students to build a digital portfolio. What they would do is when they're done creating their anchor chart, they can download it. Like this would be on the student device. They can download it either as an image, which is your PNG, or as a PDF, whichever is easier. I recommend PNG because it's already there. and then back. You would download it and then tell the students, okay, it's downloaded to your device. Let's go to your Google Drive. And they can start submitting it into their Google Drive. And it also allows us to start building their tech savvy skills that they're eventually going to be using at the middle school, high school level. But those are the two methods that we can kind of expand on the use of Canva and using Canva for anchor charts, because either we can print it off so that we can continue to use the students' work, or we can take it a step further into the future and helping our kids start building their work portfolios. But that's essentially the training, how my kids use Canva to create their anchor charts. I don't know if anybody has any questions, any concerns, tomatoes to throw.
No, what tomatoes? That was very impressive.
Thank you.
Very, very, very well done. Thank you, Jimena.
No problem.
Is there any questions for Ms. Castillo?